What does Charles Manson, Marshall Applewhite, David Koresh, and Jim Jones have in common? All four of these men have impeccable communication skills, excessive charisma, and they use their powers for evil. The information I will be speaking about has been gathered from several reliable articles, interviews from those involved, and materials from the leaders themselves. Cults are an ever-present danger to countless lives. We will talk about two major points. We will talk about who is a prime target to be indoctrinated into these cults. We will talk about the process in which cult leaders lure people into their communities and establish them as members. So let's begin with who is the most at risk of being targeted by cults. Cults target people to join their harmful communities. Their potential victims tend to desire a place to belong. They would receive a welcoming and accepting atmosphere from the cult. The cult makes them feel accepted through emotional manipulation. Cults tend to recruit people who are naive. Their targets don't seem to have... Their target does not have to trust them, but it is a lot easier to manipulate someone who easily trusts or is seen as gullible. Another trait that helps cultists choose targets is an unassertive demeanor. People who have a harder time saying no or are easier to push into doing things they might not want to do are a lot easier to get to agree to do these things. If the shy target has a low confidence or a low self-esteem, it's a lot easier to lure them into the cult's very welcoming atmosphere. Now that we've talked about who gets targeted for recruitment, let's talk about how the cults lure their targets into becoming members. According to Michael Bluejay, a member of the aesthetic realism cult, there is an 8-step process that successful cults follow. The first step in the indoctrination process is inviting the target to a non-threatening event. This event could be a party, a get-together, grabbing coffee, something simple and very easy to agree to. And these people get their targets to agree to these events on several occasions to instill this habit, this behavior of just saying yes all the time. They build up how much they ask from their target each time so that it's easier for their target to agree to things that they wouldn't normally agree to. The second thing cult leaders do to lure in potential targets is a term coined love bombing. In kind of the beginning stages of indoctrinating their target, cult leaders and their members will shower the recruits and the potential members with a lot of attention and praise. This allows the cult to instill this false sense of safety and acceptance, because this feeling of acceptance is their close community feelings between their members. It makes them feel like they're like a family. The third phase of the process is dangling the prize in front of the recruit. At this phase, cult members will suggest that if you join them or do what they want, you can attain something very special. Whatever it is that they offer, there will be members who will advertise its desire and how it's improved their lives and makes them very happy, and their lives have become so much more successful afterwards. The target imagines themselves attaining the same prize and gaining the same success that the other members have been advertising. And next, the leaders extract an agreement from the recruit that they want the prize. After introducing it to their potential member, they get them to agree that they want the prize. Once the target agrees that they want the prize, the cult already has this major hold of this person, and it just guarantees to them that they have this power, and they will definitely use it against them. The next phase in the process is shutting down dissent by threatening to withhold the prize. At this phase, the members of the cult start to ask a lot more of the new members or targets. They start asking them to do things that they might not want to do or is very hard for them to do. At any sign of hesitation at these things or of what the cult believes in, they start they threaten to take away the prize. They start taking things away from them. The target will start sacrificing their freedoms of choice to attain that prize. They'll start sacrificing who they are as a person just to try to gain what they have lost from these people. So to keep an emotional hold of the potential member, the leaders will start to establish guilt in their cult members. At this point, the recruit is no longer being hesitant or difficult, so the cult leaders start shaming them because it makes them feel vulnerable and more susceptible to manipulation. But to members that have been members for a longer period of time, this ensures that they remain vulnerable and subservient and require things from the cult leaders. The seventh phase of the process is called behavioral conditioning. This is also known as the carrot and the stick due to an old metaphor. The idea was that a donkey would be more likely to repeat good behavior and what you ask it to do when it's reinforced with a treat like a carrot, and the donkey would be discouraged to repeat the behaviors if it was punished by being hit by a stick. Because people naturally do not enjoy pain and are inspired by the pleasures of, treats and things, it's a very powerful tool that the cults use in their metaphorical tool belt. The last step for cult leaders is the control of identity, information, and environment. At this point, the recruit is a firm member of the cult, and more advanced methods can be used to keep them into being a member. Most of the powerful cults will dissociate their members from their past lives to start a new one. They'll start requiring that their members move away and no longer talk to their friends and family and people that they knew before they were members of the cult. The leaders will control the cult's resources and flow of information so that all of their members are reliant and dependent on these cult leaders. And sometimes the cult leaders will require their members to change their names so that any ties to who they were are completely cut off. This was a method that was used in the Manson family cult. Several of the members changed their names to things like Gypsy or Tex, and they became completely different people. Cults are an ever-present danger to countless lives. We have talked about two major points. We have talked about who is a prime target to be indoctrinated into these cults, and we have talked about the process in which cult leaders lure people into their communities and establish them as members. And now that we have covered how these leaders lure people in, it's important to be alert of these behaviors and promises. If someone offers something that seems too good to be true, it probably is.